You have the authority to change everything, the budget to make it happen, the position to set direction for hundreds or thousands of people. So why do 70% of organizational transformations still fail? Why do well-intentioned changes create resistance instead of results? Because having power and knowing how to use it are two completely different things. This is the third part in a series on leading change from where you are, and today we're talking about leading change from the top, where your biggest challenge isn't getting permission, but getting genuine buy-in, where moving too fast can create chaos, but moving too slow can kill momentum. Here's the irony of senior leadership. You have more authority than anyone else, but you're also the most isolated from the daily reality of your organization. You see the strategic challenges, the market pressures, the competitive threats, but do you see the broken printer that's been frustrating your team for 6 months? The process that takes 3 approvals when it should take 1? Your superpower, strategic perspective, can also be your blind spot. Let me start with the biggest misconception I see. I, as a leader, can command cultural change. Sure, you can command compliance, you can mandate processes, you can require attendance at culture workshops, but you cannot decree that people trust each other, take initiative, or care about outcomes. Culture is what people do when you're not watching. It's the unwritten rules, the social norms, the behaviors that get rewarded in practice, not just in policy. And it's influenced far more by what you do than what you say. I'm sure you've seen it too. Organizations hang up motivational posters with mission statements and company values, assuming they automatically become part of the culture. That's like opening up a gym at the office and expecting everyone to get into shape. Sure, the people who were always receptive to the message will embrace it, but everyone else will just carry on as always. The problem isn't the values themselves. It's thinking that declaring them makes them real. Values become culture only when they're consistently demonstrated and rewarded. So what can you control as a senior leader? More than you might think. What gets rewarded, both formally, promotion and bonuses, and informally, attention, recognition, resources. What gets measured, the metrics you track signal what actually matters. How decisions get made, the processes that determine who has input and how choices are evaluated. Who gets hired, the people you bring in shape the cultural DNA. How conflicts get resolved, the way problems are addressed sets behavioral norms. These are your actual tools for cultural change. Here's one of the most powerful tools you have: public recognition. When you reward someone publicly, you're not just motivating that person, you're telling everyone else what behaviors lead to success. If you want innovation, celebrate the team that tried something new, even if it didn't work perfectly. If you want collaboration, highlight examples of departments working together to solve problems. If you want people to speak up about issues, recognize someone who raised a concern that prevented a bigger problem. Make the invisible visible. Show people what success looks like in your organization. Most leaders optimize their organization for today's challenges. But what happens when tomorrow's challenges arrive? The most important thing you can do is build the ability to change in your organizational DNA. This means creating systems that can adapt, hiring people who thrive in ambiguity, developing leaders who can navigate uncertainty. Don't just solve today's problems, build tomorrow's capabilities. John Kotter has a brilliant concept called the dual operating system that's perfect for organizations needing both stability and agility. Layer 2 ways of working on top of each other. The stable hierarchy handles operations, daily business, established processes, everything that needs consistency and reliability. On top of that, create a network-like organization designed for rapid change and innovation. The beautiful part, people can voluntarily move between systems. Your early adopters get a home for innovation, your stability-loving employees get the structure they need. Both are valuable, both are necessary. Having power doesn't mean you should always use it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is choose not to exercise your authority. Use authority for non-negotiable safety issues, compliance requirements, resource allocation decisions, stroke-of-the-pen solutions that remove barriers. Use influence for cultural change, behavioral shifts, innovation initiatives, building commitment to vision. Authority gets compliance, influence gets commitment. A former CEO of mine used a method called the Hercules and Buddha approach. Sometimes you need strength, sometimes you need gentleness. Be gentle when building relationships, sharing vision, and creating safety. Be strong when protecting principles, maintaining standards, and making tough decisions. The art is knowing which moment requires which approach. You feel the urgency, market pressures, competitive threats, board expectations. You want to move fast. But sustainable culture change takes time. Push too hard and you create resistance. Move too slow and you lose momentum. Here's the balance. Move fast on things you can control directly. Take time with things that require hearts and minds. Fast, updating technology, changing reporting structure, reallocating budgets. Slow, changing how people collaborate, building trust, shifting mindsets. Know which category your change falls into. Google's Project Aristotle found that psychological safety is the #1 predictor of team performance. But it can't be mandated. It has to be modeled. Admit when you don't know something. Ask questions instead of giving orders. Acknowledge mistakes publicly. Celebrate people who bring you bad news early. When the person with the most power makes it safe to be human, everyone else relaxes. They start taking appropriate risks. They surface problems before they become crises. Vulnerability at the top creates strength throughout the organization. In earlier episodes, we talked about informal leaders, people who have influence beyond their formal role. As a senior leader, these people can make or break your initiatives. Don't try to promote them or make them official. That often destroys what made them powerful. Instead, involve them early in planning, share information freely with them, let them maintain their independence, listen to their concerns seriously. Think of them as your organizational immune system. They'll attack bad ideas and protect good ones. Here's exactly what to do this week. Monday, identify what behaviors you've been rewarding, intentionally or not. What message are you actually sending? Tuesday, find one example of the behavior you want to see more of. Plan how to recognize it publicly. Wednesday, look at your organization structure. What needs stability? What needs agility? Where might a dual approach work? Thursday, have a conversation with one of your informal leaders. What are they seeing that you might be missing? Friday, ask yourself, what am I trying to control that would be better influenced? What am I trying to influence that needs direct control? 5 conversation with yourself and others. Start building the foundation for sustainable change. Senior leadership can feel lonely. You're making decisions that affect hundreds of lives. You're balancing stakeholder demands that often conflict. You're trying to be visionary and practical simultaneously. But here's what you need to remember. Your organization is watching everything you do. Your behavior sets the tone for the entire culture. That's not pressure, that's opportunity. You have the chance to create the workplace you wish you'd had earlier in your career. This completes our 3-part series on leading change from where you are. Part 1, leading from the front lines, driving change without formal authority. Part 2, leading from the middle, bridging the gap between vision and reality. And Part 3, leading from the top, using power wisely to create sustainable change. Each level has unique challenges, but they all require the same fundamental understanding. Change is a human process, not a mechanical one. Right now, you have the opportunity to build something remarkable. Not just a more profitable organization, but a place where people can do their best work. Where innovation thrives, where problems get solved quickly because people feel safe speaking up. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. Consistent in the modeling the behavior you want to see, consistent in rewarding what matters, consistent in creating the conditions where good things can happen. Your people are watching, your organization is waiting. The question isn't whether you have the power to create change, you do. The question is, what kind of change will you create? Model the behavior, reward what matters, build for tomorrow. Share this series with other leaders who are ready to lead change the right way. Let's create organizations that actually work for humans. This is the Liberty Framework. True leadership is about enabling others to succeed. Thanks for joining me on this journey. Now go make it happen.